20. Famous black celebrities you will never see again. What if we told you that some of the biggest black celebrities, once household names, have vanished from the public eye seemingly overnight? From chart-topping singers and blockbuster actors to cultural icons who shaped an entire generation. These stars are now missing from the spotlight. And the reasons will shock you. Death scandal, silence, or personal choice. Each disappearance tells a powerful story. In today's video, we're counting down 20 famous black celebrities you will never see again. Watch closely because some names might surprise you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence, where history, truth, and legacy collide. Wendy Williams, once hailed as the most fearless voice in daytime television. Wendy Williams commanded attention with her bold persona, sharp tongue, and signature catchphrase, "How you doing?" Born on July 18, 1964 in Asbury Park, New Jersey, she began her career in radio, where her gossip-laced commentaries earned her both fame and controversy. Her transition to television brought forth The Wendy Williams Show, which aired nationally in 2008, and ran successfully for over a decade, drawing millions of loyal viewers daily. Wendy wasn't just a talk show host, she became a cultural phenomenon. Her candid discussions, unfiltered opinions, and fearless interviews made her a unique figure in the world of celebrity commentary. With her towering wigs, flashy outfits, and theatrical expressions, she turned daytime TV into must-see entertainment. However, beneath the glamour, her personal struggles were mounting. Diagnosed with Graves' disease, a debilitating autoimmune disorder affecting the thyroid and later lymphedema, Wendy's health began to deteriorate in the late 2010s. By 2022, mounting concerns led to her complete withdrawal from her show, which was subsequently canceled. In 2023, her team revealed a heartbreaking diagnosis: frontotemporal dementia and aphasia conditions that impair memory, speech, and executive functioning. Wendy's last public appearances were marked by confusion and frailty, a stark contrast to the vibrant image she once projected. A documentary released in early 2024 depicted her mental and physical decline, sparking both empathy and sadness among fans worldwide. Today, Wendy Williams lives in seclusion under legal guardianship. While her voice once echoed through millions of living rooms, she now lives far from the stage she once dominated. Her fall from the spotlight is a chilling reminder of how quickly visibility can vanish, even for someone who built a career by never holding back. Chris Tucker. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Chris Tucker was one of Hollywood's most bankable comedic actors, lighting up the screen with explosive energy and unmatched timing. Born on August 31, 1971 in Atlanta, Georgia, he initially gained traction as a stand-up comic before breaking through with his unforgettable role as Smokey in the 1995 cult classic Friday. Audiences immediately latched onto his hyperactive style, distinctive voice, and razor-sharp delivery. Tucker's mainstream success soared when he teamed up with Jackie Chan in the Rush Hour trilogy. The 1998 original was a global hit, catapulting him into superstardom and making him one of the highest-paid actors in the world by the early 2000s. But after Rush Hour 3 in 2007, Tucker's momentum seemed to stall. Despite sporadic appearances such as his well-received supporting role in Silver Linings Playbook 2012, he has largely stepped back from major film roles. Rather than chase blockbusters, he's focused on live comedy tours, philanthropy, and personal growth. Financial issues, including a reported multi-million-dollar tax debt, also contributed to his public retreat. In an era where reboots dominate, fans frequently ask, will Chris Tucker ever return to the big screen? Full-time rumors of Rush Hour 4 have circulated for years, but no project has materialized. Tucker himself has hinted at being selective, prioritizing quality over quantity. While he hasn't formally retired, his extended absence from Hollywood has become more noticeable with time. Though still active behind the scenes, Tucker's cinematic spark, once blazing across theaters worldwide, has dimmed, making his disappearance from mainstream media one of the entertainment industry's most curious exits. Aaliyah. Aaliyah Dana Houghton was more than a rising star. She was a cultural force whose artistry transcended genres and generations. Born on January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, New York, and raised in Detroit, she dazzled the world with her haunting voice, elegant presence, and futuristic R&B sound. At just 15, she released her debut album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, sparking instant recognition. Her sophomore album, One in a Million 1996, produced by Timbaland and Missy Elliott, cemented her as an innovator. Hits like If Your Girl Only Knew and Four-Page Letter redefined the sonic landscape of the late 90s. Aaliyah's artistry was subtle, but commanding, cool, yet emotional, sultry, yet ethereal. By 2000, she had begun a successful transition into acting, starring in Romeo Must Die and filming Queen of the Damned. Tragically, her trajectory was cut short. On August 25, 2001, after filming a music video in the Bahamas, Aaliyah and 8 others perished in a plane crash. She was just 22. Investigations revealed the plane was overloaded, and the pilot unlicensed details that only deepened the sorrow surrounding her death. Her passing left a cultural void. Aaliyah wasn't just popular, she was foundational. Her influence remains visible in artists like Rihanna, Beyoncé, Normani, and countless others. Though long absent from the physical world, her music saw a resurgence in 2021 when her catalog finally became available on streaming platforms after years of legal limbo. Aaliyah's legacy is preserved in shimmering memories, timeless fashion, and a sound that still feels ahead of its time. Though she'll never grace a stage again, her image and voice continue to captivate, a reminder of brilliance gone far too soon. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's impact on modern comedy is unmatched, raw, intellectual, and unapologetically provocative. Born on August 24, 1973 in Washington, D.C., he rose through the ranks of stand-up in the 90s before launching Chappelle's Show in 2003. The series, with its biting satire and boundary-pushing sketches, became a cultural lightning rod tackling race politics and social hypocrisy with fearless precision. Then, in 2005, at the height of his fame, Chappelle vanished. Walking away from a $50 million contract with Comedy Central, he fled to South Africa, citing creative burnout and discomfort with the show's direction. His sudden departure stunned the entertainment world and turned him into an enigmatic figure. Though he returned years later with a new wave of Netflix specials, the age of spin equanimity, sticks and stones. Chappelle's reappearance was layered with tension. Praised for his intellect and wit, he also drew criticism for material addressing gender identity and cancel culture. Still, he remains defiant, refusing to dilute his voice for approval. In recent years, Chappelle has retreated to Yellow Springs, Ohio, rarely participating in Hollywood's traditional circuits. His public appearances are infrequent, his interviews sparse, and his projects selectively chosen. For all his continued relevance, Chappelle has made it clear he operates on his own terms. Though not absent in the literal sense, his distance from mainstream media and refusal to conform to celebrity norms make him feel increasingly out of reach. He's not gone, but he's no longer part of the spotlight he once ruled. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Amaru Shakur embodied the voice of a generation, fierce, poetic, and unfiltered. Born on June 16, 1971 in East Harlem, New York, he rose from poverty and political roots to become one of the most influential rappers in history. His lyrics were a mirror to America's injustice, addressing racism, police brutality, inner-city struggle, and Black empowerment. Albums like Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me weren't just commercial hits, they were anthems for the marginalized. Tracks such as Keep Ya Head Up, Changes, and Dear Mama displayed emotional range rarely seen in hip-hop. Tupac was a contradiction, vulnerable yet aggressive, spiritual yet defiant, introspective, but explosively outspoken. His off-screen life was just as compelling, embroiled in legal troubles, a high-profile feud with the notorious B.I.G., and a tumultuous relationship with Fame. Signed to Death Row Records after a prison stint, Tupac immersed himself in an increasingly volatile world. On September 7, 1996, he was shot multiple times in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas. He died 6 days later on September 13th at just 25. His murder remains unsolved, fueling countless conspiracy theories and cultural obsession. Yet Tupac's legacy only intensified after death. Posthumous albums, documentaries, books, and murals continue to emerge. His face, words, and message live on in protest movements, classrooms, and rap verses from new generations. Though his body is gone, Tupac never truly disappeared. But the man, the complex artist with a fire in his eyes, can never return. What remains is a mythic figure frozen in time whose brilliance was extinguished far too soon. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston wasn't just a singer, she was a phenomenon. Born on August 9, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey, she emerged from gospel roots and a musically gifted family, including her mother, Cissy Houston, and cousin Dionne Warwick. Her voice, powerful, crystalline, and emotionally rich, became the standard by which all others were measured. Her self-titled debut album in 1985 broke records, producing hit after hit, like Saving All My Love for You and How Will I Know. Whitney soon dominated charts with songs that blended pop and soul with elegance and force. Her 1992 rendition of I Will Always Love You from The Bodyguard became one of the best-selling singles of all time. Houston's crossover success reshaped the music industry, opening doors for black female vocalists in pop. She won 6 Grammys, sold over 200 million records worldwide, and became the first artist to have 7 consecutive #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. But the highs were matched by devastating lows. Her marriage to Bobby Brown was marred by substance abuse, public scandals, and personal turmoil. Over time, her voice weakened, her performances became erratic, and her reputation suffered. Despite multiple comeback attempts, the damage was visible. On February 11, 2012, Whitney was found dead in a Beverly Hills hotel bathtub. The coroner's report cited accidental drowning, heart disease, and cocaine use. She was only 48. Her fall stunned the world. The woman once dubbed the Voice was silenced far too soon. Yet her music still brings chills. Her image remains iconic, and her influence echoes in every rising vocalist who dares to soar. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's life was spectacle, brilliance, and contradiction. Born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana, he began performing with the Jackson 5 at just 6 years old. By the early 1980s, he had transformed into a global force, redefining what it meant to be a pop superstar. His 1982 album Thriller remains the best-selling album of all time, with hits like Billie Jean Beat It and the groundbreaking title track. Jackson's music videos revolutionized the medium, turning short films into cultural events. His signature dance moves, the moonwalk above, all became part of pop culture DNA. With albums like Bad, Dangerous, and History, he solidified his reign across continents. He earned 13 Grammy Awards and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Beyond music, Jackson's humanitarian efforts raised millions for global causes, reflecting a deep concern for the world's suffering. Yet fame took its toll. His physical appearance changed drastically, leading to intense public scrutiny. He faced multiple allegations of child sexual abuse, which he denied vehemently. Though acquitted in 2005, the shadow of controversy haunted his legacy. In the final years, Jackson battled chronic insomnia, relying on a dangerous regimen of prescription drugs. On June 25, 2009, he died from acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication at age 50. The announcement of his passing sparked global mourning, crashing websites and flooding city streets with tributes. Michael Jackson's absence still feels surreal. He wasn't just an entertainer, he was a phenomenon whose artistry shaped generations. Though he'll never moonwalk across a stage again, his spirit lives on in every beat, every rhythm, and every fan who believes in magic through music. Omarion. Omarion, born Omari Ishmael Granberry on November 12, 1984, in Inglewood, California, became a household name in the early 2000s as the charismatic lead singer of the boy band B2K. With hits like Bump, 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 and Girlfriend, B2K dominated teen R&B and earned legions of young fans. Omarion stood out not just for his silky vocals, but for his precision dance moves and undeniable stage presence. When B2K disbanded in 2004, Omarion launched a solo career with impressive momentum. His debut album O debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 and earned him a Grammy nomination. Songs like Icebox and Touch showcased his ability to blend vulnerability with swagger, further establishing him as a rising solo act. Beyond music, he dabbled in acting, notably starring in You Got Served, a film that helped define early 2000s dance culture. He also made appearances in reality shows like Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, offering glimpses into his personal life. But over time, the spotlight dimmed. Changing trends in R&B and pop edged him out of the mainstream, and his later releases failed to recapture his earlier success. Though he reunited with B2K for the Millennium Tour in 2019, tensions among members and limited media visibility after the tour left his future uncertain. Omarion hasn't disappeared entirely. He still releases music independently and connects with fans via social media, but the days of radio dominance and primetime interviews are long behind him. A once-in-demand heartthrob now exists largely in nostalgic memory. Ricky Harris. Ricky Harris, born Richard George Harris II, on October 5, 1962 in Long Beach, California, was a multifaceted entertainer whose impact stretched across television, film, and music. Known for his gritty comedic delivery and street-smart charm, he became a recognizable face in the 90s urban entertainment landscape. He rose to fame through roles on television shows like Moesha and Everybody Hates Chris, where he played the recurring character Malvo, a small-time crook with a comedic edge. But it was his voice that extended his legacy even further. Harris lent his unmistakable tone to countless hip-hop skits, including albums by Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Thaw Dog Pound, often portraying fictional characters like DJ Easy Dick and Ta Dow. In film, he appeared in cult favorites such as Poetic Justice Heat and Hard Rain. He was known not just for making people laugh, but for bringing authenticity to every character, even in minor roles. His style was raw but relatable, with humor rooted in real-life experience. Despite professional success, Harris battled addiction and personal demon struggles that often kept him in the shadows of bigger names. Still, he remained dedicated to his craft, consistently working in stand-up comedy and smaller screen roles well into the 2000s. Tragically, Ricky Harris died of a heart attack on December 26, 2016 at the age of 54. His passing came as a shock to fans and collaborators alike, many of whom credited him with helping shape the voice of 90s hip-hop culture. Though not a global superstar, Ricky Harris left an unmistakable imprint on black comedy and West Coast rap. His legacy lives on through laughter music and the characters who bore his unique comedic signature. Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown, born February 5, 1969 in Boston, Massachusetts, helped redefine R&B during the late 1980s and early 1990s. As a founding member of New Edition, he played a pivotal role in shaping the boy band template, blending youthful charm with slick choreography. But it was his solo career that truly cemented his place in music history. His 1988 album Don't Be Cruel became a cultural juggernaut, featuring chart toppers like My Prerogative and Every Little Step. Brown's signature fusion of R&B, funk, and hip-hop, later dubbed New Jack Swing, earned him multi-platinum sales and a Grammy Award. On stage, his dynamic energy and edgy persona made him one of the most electrifying performers of his time. However, Brown's meteoric rise was soon overshadowed by turmoil. His marriage to Whitney Houston was tabloid fodder for over a decade, rife with rumors of infidelity, substance abuse, and violence. Legal troubles piled up, ranging from DUI arrests to probation violations, derailing his music career and fracturing his public image. Though he made brief returns with reality TV and sporadic music releases, the raw charisma that once defined him gradually faded from mainstream relevance. Personal tragedy struck again with the loss of his daughter, Bobby Christina, in 2015, eerily echoing Whitney's own passing just 3 years earlier. Now largely absent from the charts and red carpets, Bobby Brown lives a quieter life. He remains a cautionary tale and a nostalgic figure admired for his influence but forever linked to one of the most public downfalls in entertainment history. Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill's brilliance arrived like lightning, powerful, rare, and unforgettable. Born May 26, 1975, in East Orange, New Jersey, she first gained fame as the standout voice of the Fugees. With the group's 1996 album, The Score Hill became a household name, delivering unforgettable performances on tracks like Killing Me Softly and Ready or Not. But it was her 1998 solo debut, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that solidified her as a generational talent. The album blended soul, reggae, hip-hop, and gospel into a deeply personal masterpiece. It earned her 5 Grammy Awards, making her the first woman to win that many in a single night, and is still hailed as one of the most influential albums ever recorded. Then, as quickly as she rose, she vanished. Hill began canceling performances, rejecting the industry, and speaking out against fame's pressures. She released only a handful of songs afterward, choosing instead to retreat from commercial expectations. Her behavior became increasingly erratic. She showed up late to concerts, criticized the media, and gave cryptic interviews that baffled even her most loyal fans. In 2013, she served a brief prison sentence for tax evasion. While she's since performed at select events and festivals, her presence remains elusive. She rarely grants interviews, avoids social media, and shows little interest in reclaiming her former stardom. Despite the silence, Lauryn Hill's influence echoes in every introspective, conscious female artist, to follow from Alicia Keys to Her and beyond. She remains one of the most mythologized figures in modern music, a genius who stepped away perhaps to protect herself, or perhaps because she had already said everything she needed to say. Her retreat was not due to failure, but choice. And it's that choice that makes her absence all the more haunting. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton once reigned as the queen of sultry ballads, her deep, textured voice capable of conveying heartbreak with unmatched elegance. Born on October 7, 1967 in Severn, Maryland, she burst onto the scene in the early 1990s with her self-titled debut album, which sold over 10 million copies worldwide. With hits like Another Sad Love Song and Breathe Again, she established herself as an R&B powerhouse. Her 1996 follow-up Secrets catapulted her into global superstardom. The record featured her most iconic single, Unbreak My Heart, a chart-topping ballad that earned her a Grammy and remains one of the best-selling singles by a female artist in history. Known for her dramatic gowns, poised demeanor, and emotive delivery, Toni became a household name. However, her career was marred by financial woes. In a shocking twist, she filed for bankruptcy twice, first in 1998 and again in 2010, despite her commercial success. Compounded by a lupus diagnosis that forced her to cancel shows, Braxton's once dominant presence in the music world began to shrink. She later starred in the reality show Braxton Family Values, revealing intimate details of her health struggles and family life. While still admired for her artistry, her output slowed significantly. Recent albums have received modest attention, but none have reignited her earlier momentum. Today, Toni Braxton remains respected but largely absent from the mainstream stage. Her name still evokes emotion, but her voice, once a staple of radio and award shows, has grown quieter with time. Though she's not entirely gone, her retreat from the spotlight feels final, making her a bittersweet fixture of R&B's golden era. Suge Knight. Suge Knight was once the most feared and powerful figure in hip-hop. Born Marion Hugh Knight Jr. on April 19, 1965 in Compton, California, he co-founded Death Row Records in 1991, helping to launch the careers of legends like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. Under his reign, Death Row defined West Coast rap during the 1990s, producing multi-platinum albums and changing the sound of an entire generation. Knight's business practices, however, were as aggressive as the music he promoted. Known for intimidation tactics, physical altercations, and alleged connections to violent incidents, Suge became as infamous as he was influential. His connection to Tupac's final days and the subsequent East Coast-West Coast rivalry only deepened the shadows around him. Legal trouble followed him for years. Assault charges, probation violations, and civil suits were constant. But the most consequential came in 2015 when Knight was involved in a fatal hit-and-run outside a Los Angeles film set. Surveillance footage showed him plowing his truck into two men, killing one. In 2018, he pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 28 years in prison. Now incarcerated, Suge Knight is a ghost of the figure who once dictated the pace of the music industry. Death Row has been sold, rebranded, and absorbed into modern streaming platforms without his influence. Once central to hip-hop's most controversial chapter, Knight now lives in near-total obscurity behind bars. Though his name still stirs conversation, the man himself has vanished from the culture he once dominated. His fall is among the most dramatic in music history. A titan who built an empire through fear and swagger, only to lose it all to the consequences of unchecked power. Tyson Beckford. Tyson Beckford wasn't just a model, he was a movement. Born on December 19, 1970, in the Bronx, New York, to Jamaican and Chinese Panamanian parents, he shattered Eurocentric beauty standards and became one of the first black male supermodels to dominate high fashion. Discovered in the early 90s, Beckford skyrocketed to global fame as the face of Ralph Lauren's Polo line, where his chiseled features and magnetic stare graced billboards, runways, and magazine covers worldwide. He wasn't just photogenic, he was transformative. Beckford broke barriers, paving the way for greater diversity in an industry that had long excluded men of color. His crossover appeal led to appearances in music videos, films like Zoolander, and TV shows, including America's Next Top Model, where he mentored aspiring models with confidence and charm. Despite his pioneering status, Beckford eventually stepped away from the limelight. The fashion world evolved, favoring a new wave of influencers and digital personalities. Tyson, now in his 50s, has shifted toward entrepreneurship, fitness advocacy, and personal growth rather than chasing cameras. Though still admired within fashion circles, his mainstream visibility has faded considerably. Once a fixture on red carpets and in glossy spreads, Beckford now operates mostly behind the scenes, making rare public appearances and focusing on wellness and legacy. His retreat from the spotlight may not stem from scandal or tragedy, but from a natural transition. Yet for those who remember, Tyson Beckford's image was more than iconic, it was revolutionary. And though he's rarely seen today, his influence still walks every runway where diversity is finally being embraced. Nia Long. Nia Long was once synonymous with grace, intelligence, and effortless beauty on screen. Born on October 30, 1970 in Brooklyn, New York, she captivated audiences throughout the 90s and early 2000s with her portrayals of grounded, multidimensional black women. Whether playing Brandy in Boys in the Hood, Jordan in The Best Man, or Lisa on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Nia brought depth and authenticity to every role. Her success wasn't confined to acting. Long became a symbol of representation, redefining what it meant to be a leading lady in Hollywood without compromising cultural identity. She won Image Awards critical acclaim and the hearts of millions, particularly in roles that explored themes of love, career, and family from a distinctly black female perspective. Yet despite a powerful filmography and widespread admiration, Nia Long has increasingly receded from the public eye. While she has remained active through occasional film and television work, including roles in Empire and NCIS Los Angeles, she has largely opted out of the celebrity machine. Long has spoken candidly about her preference for privacy and the need to protect her family life from industry pressures. In recent years, her name has surfaced more for personal matters like her high-profile breakup in 2022 than for new creative projects. Unlike some stars who fade due to scandal or misfortune, Nia's exit appears intentional, a conscious choice to distance herself from fame's volatility. Though no longer a constant presence on screen, her cultural footprint remains strong. From her timeless performances to her quiet strength off-camera, Nia Long represents the kind of stardom that doesn't scream, but endures. Her absence is felt not as a disappearance, but as a graceful withdrawal. Sanaa Lathan. Sanaa Lathan was never the loudest voice in Hollywood, but she was always one of the most compelling. Born on September 19, 1971 in New York City, she emerged from a creative lineage, her father a television producer, her mother an actress. With Ivy League education and classical training, Sanaa brought intelligence and grace to every role she touched. She became a breakout star with Love and Basketball in 2000, portraying Monica Wright, a young woman determined to succeed in the male-dominated world of pro sports. The film became an instant classic, and her performance, raw and empowering, resonated deeply with audiences. Roles in Brown Sugar Alien vs. Predator and the Best Man franchise further showcased her range. Despite her success, Lathan never fully embraced the Hollywood spotlight. She remained deeply selective, often choosing quality over quantity and prioritizing personal fulfillment over red carpets. In the late 2010s, she voiced the character Donna Tubbs on The Cleveland Show and starred in a few Netflix films, but her screen time noticeably declined. Rare interviews and social media absence have fueled speculation. Some say she grew disillusioned with industry politics. Others believe she simply chose a quieter life. Unlike many peers, she's managed to avoid scandal or burnout, disappearing not out of necessity but perhaps out of wisdom. Today, Sanaa Lathan lives mostly beyond the reach of Hollywood's noise. Her impact lingers in the unforgettable characters she portrayed, and her retreat serves as a quiet testament to agency in an industry that rarely allows it. Her absence may not be dramatic, but it's deeply felt. Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens was once the NFL's ultimate showman, blazing fast, brutally honest, and impossible to ignore. Born December 7, 1973 in Alexander City, Alabama, he went from a small college standout at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga to one of the most prolific wide receivers in football history. Over 15 seasons, Owens played for 6 teams, including high-profile stints with the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Dallas Cowboys. His career stats are staggering: 1,078 receptions, 15,934 receiving yards, and 153 touchdowns. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler and 5-time first-team All-Pro ranking among the league's all-time greats. But Owens's impact extended far beyond numbers. Known for touchdown celebrations and fiery interviews, he divided locker rooms and ignited headlines. To some, he was misunderstood. To others, he was his own worst enemy. Off-field feuds with coaches and quarterbacks often overshadowed his brilliance on the field. Despite his resume, Owens was denied Hall of Fame induction until 2018, 3 years after he became eligible. In protest, he skipped the official ceremony and held his own. The move was quintessential: T.O. bold, polarizing, and headline-making. Since retiring, Owens has dabbled in reality TV fitness ventures and podcasting, but none have reignited his once commanding presence in the sports world. Financial setbacks, estranged personal relationships, and a perceived disconnect from the NFL establishment have left him on the fringes of the spotlight he once owned. Though still alive and outspoken, Owens has largely vanished from the mainstream stage. His name evokes memories of jaw-dropping catches and sideline drama, but today he exists more as a memory than an active force. Terrell Owens didn't fade quietly, but fade he has nonetheless. Vesta Williams. Vesta Williams possessed a voice that could shake the soul, powerful, textured, and deeply emotive. Born on December 1, 1957 in Coshocton, Ohio, she rose to prominence in the late 1980s with a vocal range that could rival any chart-topping diva of her era. Her breakout single, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, in 1986, set the tone for a career built on heartfelt ballads and commanding performances. Her 1989 album, Vesta For You, featured the hit Congratulations, a Torch song that became her signature and resonated with fans experiencing the pain of lost love. Known for her dynamic stage presence and lush, soulful delivery, she earned critical acclaim and admiration from industry peers. Yet mainstream superstardom always seemed just out of reach. Vesta was more than a singer. She was also a songwriter, actress, and radio host. She lent her voice to television jingles, acted in sitcoms, and performed backup for artists like Chaka Khan and Anita Baker. She battled personal demons, including issues with weight and mental health, but remained resilient and outspoken, particularly about body image and self-worth. Tragically, Vesta Williams was found dead in her Los Angeles hotel room on September 22, 2011, at age 53. The official cause: hypertensive heart disease. Her passing was sudden and largely underreported, a somber end for a woman whose voice once lit up concert halls. Today, Vesta's name may not be on every playlist, but her artistry endures among R&B purists. She is remembered not just for her talent, but for the passion behind every note. Her absence is a haunting reminder of how some of the most gifted voices never receive the full recognition they deserve. Lark Voorhees. In the early 1990s, Lark Voorhees was television royalty. As Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell, she played the stylish, witty, and confident teen whose presence lit up Saturday morning screens across America. Born on March 25, 1974, in Nashville, Tennessee, Lark quickly became a fan favorite, one of the few black actresses in teen sitcoms during a time of limited representation. Her role made her a pop culture icon, celebrated not only for her comedic timing, but also for her groundbreaking presence in a predominantly white cast. Voorhees went on to appear in hit shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and The House, and soap operas including Days of Our Lives and The Bold and the Beautiful. But after her early success, Lark began to retreat from the spotlight. Rumors swirled about erratic behavior and mental health struggles, which she later confirmed. Diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, she bravely opened up during a 2020 interview on Dr. Oz, explaining her long absence and her desire to reconnect with both fans and former castmates. Despite her vulnerability and courage, the entertainment industry hasn't fully embraced her return. She was notably excluded from the 2020 Saved by the Bell reboot, later appearing in a limited guest role after public outcry. Her social media presence is sporadic, and new acting roles remain scarce. Voorhees' story is not one of scandal, but of quiet struggle. A beloved star who once represented glamour, intelligence, and humor for a generation of viewers now lives largely outside the public eye. Her withdrawal from Hollywood serves as a sobering example of how fame, mental illness, and industry neglect can intersect. Though she may never return as the vibrant Lisa Turtle we once knew, Lark Voorhees remains a cherished figure, worthy of remembrance and empathy. Keshia Knight Pulliam. Keshia Knight. Pulliam's face is forever etched in the memory of anyone who grew up watching The Cosby Show. Born on April 9, 1979 in Newark, New Jersey, she made television history as Rudy Huxtable, the youngest, sassiest member of one of America's most beloved fictional families. At just 6 years old, she earned an Emmy nomination, becoming one of the youngest nominees in history. Her performance as Rudy wasn't just adorable, it was groundbreaking. Pulliam became a symbol of childhood innocence and charm in a show that redefined the portrayal of black family life on television. For 8 seasons, viewers watched her grow up on screen, her personality shining even among a strong ensemble cast. After The Cosby Show ended in 1992, Pulliam largely stepped away from the spotlight to focus on education and personal development. She graduated from Spelman College with a degree in sociology, choosing not to chase child stardom into adult fame too quickly. While she returned for roles in Tyler Perry's House of Pain and films like Medea Goes to Jail, she never regained the cultural ubiquity of her Rudy years, and perhaps intentionally so. In recent years, Keshia has shifted her focus to entrepreneurship and philanthropy. She launched her own foundation supporting underserved communities and became vocal about issues affecting Black women, including fertility awareness and wellness. While she occasionally appears in public, including reality shows like Celebrity Apprentice, she's more often seen as a businesswoman and mother than as a performer. Kashia Knight. Pulliam didn't fade because she failed. She evolved. Though we may never see her on sitcom sets again, her place in television history is secure. Her graceful departure from Hollywood's fast lane is a rare example of a child star who chose peace over pressure and purpose over applause. While some of these iconic figures have passed on and others have chosen lives away from the spotlight, their legacies remain complex and unforgettable. Whether celebrated for brilliance or scrutinized for controversy, they each helped shape the cultural fabric of Black excellence. But now we ask you, do they deserve more recognition, or has their time truly passed? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's open the floor. Should we honor their impact louder, or let history speak for itself? This is Legends of Black Excellence, and your voice matters just as much as theirs once did.